Sasa, hi. Most people know about physical abuse, and in some cases, when someone leaves maybe their marriage or their marriage falls apart, or maybe share with with their friends about what they're going through in their relationships, and sometimes people ask, then why do you want to leave him? Did it ever get physical? Is it physical? Is he hitting you? Has he ever hit you? And then sometimes we think that if it's not physical, it's not that bad, but it can be equally as bad. I want to talk about emotional abuse, and it happens a lot in toxic relationships. So, it happens a lot in toxic relationships. So, emotional abuse is whereby the abuser uses verbal abuse, manipulation, causing fear, isolation, control, treating you like a child, making you feel less of a person, intimidating you, threatening you, and the reason they do that is in order to gain control, in order to power you, to render you powerless, in order to just be in control of you. So, however, we think emotional abuse is not as serious, but the scars of emotional abuse can be severe and long lasting. Because in most cases it ends with anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts. It ends with even death, and also PTSD. It's called PTSD, yeah, post-traumatic stress disorder. It is as bad. And in most toxic, I went through that, and I know what I'm talking about. So in most abusive relationships, even when it's physical, there's some elements of emotional abuse. If you've not seen my video about financial abuse in relationships, please go back and look at it. Emotional abuse. So when you're emotionally abused, you have low self-esteem, you've lost your independence, you think you cannot survive with that person in your life, you think you're less of a person, you lose yourself, you feel small, you're in constant fear, you're happier when your partner is not around. When he's around, you have to walk on eggshells. Also, there's also elements of Cold War when it comes to emotional abuse. Your partner keeps threatening to leave you if you don't do what he wants, or threatens to hurt himself, hurt you, and hurt others if you leave him. Or they make you feel like you're not good enough. They make you feel like you're not good enough, because the idea is for you to lose your self-worth and your independence and to be their puppet. Emotional abuse can severely damage your mental health long term. For a long time, it can really mess you up. And then in most relationships where there is emotional abuse, by the time you're leaving, you have low self-esteem. You have to work towards building your self-esteem again, feeling yourself, raising your self-worth again, feeling important, loving yourself, those things. So there are different elements of emotional abuse, and it involves things like verbal abuse, where your partner is constantly telling you mean things like, you look so ugly without makeup. Or I know a lady who their husband used to take photos of her when she was asleep, and then he'd tell her, look how ugly you look when you're sleeping, telling you you're stupid, you cannot get that job, don't go for those interviews. Those interviews are women who are very intelligent. Or telling you, or maybe not even celebrating even your birthdays, and they say things like, I don't think I need to celebrate you because you did this and that to me, so why am I celebrating your birthday? Or just just making you feel less of a person, abusing you and telling you such mean things. You have such a weird body shape, you have such a big stomach, I don't want to be seen with you. They tell you such mean things. They tell you have no sense of style. They tell you what you need to be doing. They are mean to you. Number one, that's verbal abuse. Also control. Control is a very huge red flag. If you have someone who's controlling your every move, you have to report to them whatever you do. They're spying on you. They've tracked your car. They've tracked your phone. You have to send them screenshots of your recent calls to see who you called and what time. They have to keep checking on you. They have to controlling your finances. They're controlling your speeches. Even there's this woman I came across. She had dated a narcissist, and she couldn't even stand in front of a crowd of like 6 people and say hi, because the husband had belittled her so much that she didn't have any self-esteem. So control is a huge red flag. Also things like gaslighting, and most abusers are gaslighters. Gaslighting is like, for example, they deny existence of things that happened. For example, if he had said things to you, or if you caught him cheating, and then maybe you bring it up and you say, now since I caught you cheating, blah blah, and then he goes like, you caught me cheating? Me? You caught me cheating? So they make you look crazy, and you start to doubt your thoughts, and start to doubt things that have existed before. They will lie they will say, and sometimes you tell them, why are you telling me those things? Please don't say that to me. And they're like, I never said anything like that to you. I did not say that. Yani they make you feel crazy, like things have happened, and then they behave like nothing has happened, and then you start to doubt yourself. So also gaslighting is very, very common in abusive situations. Isolations, most abusers want to isolate you, so you have no one to run to. In most abusive relationships. So it's also a form of emotional abuse. They don't want to talk to your friends. They keep telling you all your friends are hoes, or your friends are sluts, or your friends are hitting on me, so please don't talk to them. They are not your friends. They tell you your friends, your family don't want the best for you. They don't understand. They make you feel like your colleagues feel jealous, and they're not on your level, so stop hanging out with them. So you become isolated. You have no one to run to. You have no one close to, so they can literally do whatever they want with you. Also causing fear in you, threatening you, making you walk on eggshells. It's basically dating someone who's not your friend, dating someone, or being married to someone who you don't like. Why are you even with them? It starts slowly. It starts slowly, and then with time it progresses to something huge. So they intimidate you. They make you feel like a child. They tell you things like, I'm the best man you will ever meet. You will never date anybody like me. You're very lucky. I'm still dating you after how you were dressed yesterday. You're lucky I even walked with you home, and the way your hair was looking bad. They make you feel like they are your God, like Anyway, there are things you can do if you find yourself in an abusive situations, in an emotionally abusive relationship or situation. Number 1 is to set boundaries. Now you've realized, wow, this is not healthy for me. Like, I'm in so much fear. I'm constantly defending myself. This guy puts me down. He controls my phone. He reads my messages. He calls men who are my friends to tell them to stay away from me. That control, that abuse, that emotional, and it's called also psychological abuse, the same as emotional abuse. Set boundaries. Tell them, don't ever touch my phone. Change your password on your phone. When they ask for those screenshots, don't send them. And set boundaries. If they tell you you have to be in the house by 4 p.m., tell them, no, I'll be working late today. I will come at 6 p.m. Set boundaries and stick by them. I read somewhere that, you see, even narcissists, abusers, they're the worst form of abusers. They date victims. You get? And most of these abusers date victims. So the idea is to stop being a victim and stand up for yourself. Set your boundaries. Let me tell you. And by the time you're coming to set boundaries and you're realizing it's emotionally abusive, and you're trying to make the situation better, and you're trying to stand up for yourself, chances are that relationship will end. Because the other person, the abuser, cannot stand you when you're more empowered, when you're more informed, when you know what you deserve. So the first thing you need to do is set boundaries and stand by them. If he controls your money, you have to let him know every time you get to work, don't. Set boundaries. So you have to be ready. If you set boundaries and he does not want them, the relationship can end. By that time they've already made you feel like you cannot live without them, that like you really have to date them. So now that's actually the problem. So number 1, set boundaries. Number 2 is to change priorities. You realize when you're in an abusive situation, that man is usually your priority. They're so selfish. They make everything revolve around them. Sometimes you think they're doing something for you, but they're actually doing it for them. So you are never a priority. If you have favorite food, maybe you like fish, you cannot cook it in that house because he is in that house, because it will smell. Or if he doesn't like maybe women wearing trousers, you cannot wear because he doesn't like it, and he tells you when you wear it, it's not a good thing because people will start seeing my wife is dressing like this and it's not a good thing for me. It's everything revolves around them. So you need to change priorities to realize you're the most important person in your life, to love yourself, to give yourself some me time, to pamper yourself, to do things without putting him first. You get what I mean? You have to change your priorities and start prioritizing yourself and your needs, because in abusive situations, your needs don't count. They are null and void. They're not important in that relationship. The only thing important is his needs. And in instances where he allows you to do something, because it's abusive, so he's allowing you, it's because something will come back to him. It's still because of him. You get? I mean, it's still his needs you're meeting in some way. They're manipulators like crazy. Number 3, get help. Get help. Talk to a professional, talk to a counselor, talk to a therapist, talk to the police if it gets to that point. Get help. And it's so important, I say. Don't keep struggling with these things. Well, there are people trained to help us deal with this madness. Sawa. Don't go trying to commit suicide. You're suicidal, you have anxiety, you cannot sleep, you are so depressed, you don't know what to do. Get help. Go for therapy. Go for counseling. Talk to someone. That's number 3. Number 4, the other thing you can do is have an exit plan. And one of my greatest fear is not living up to God's will for me on this earth. And number 2 is to lose myself while pleasing other people. I lost myself once in a relationship and I said it will never happen again. You know how because when you date someone who's abusing you emotionally, you stop existing as who you are as a person and you start existing as that person for them, as that woman for them, or as that man for them. Like you literally die. As Muthoni, I just stop doing what I like and I have to do what they want me to do, So have an exit plan, because it will mess you. Sometimes you're like, you feel like you cannot stay without them, but your mental health is deteriorating every day. You have low self-esteem. You have PTSD. Some people develop conditions in these relationships. Imagine you develop long life conditions that you will maybe have to take medication for the rest of your life. But you'd rather do that than stay in a relationship that would eventually kill you. Sindio? Yeah, so I wish you all the best. I say information is power, and that is why I talk about some of these things to empower us, to inform us. Things happened in my life, and I decided to take control of my life, to teach myself these things, to go for therapy, to want to be the best version of myself, and lastly, to make myself happy, because that's the most important job I have, to be there for myself. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. Let's meet down in the comment section and talk about some of these things. My name is Muthoni Mukiri. You have been watching Muthoni's Mission.